All right. So, good evening, everyone. We're all here to get the debrief, or you can say a little bit more of an overview, of an analysis, of an insight of the pre-seen material that has been shared by ACCA for your June 2025 exam. Now, this session is going to be only useful for you people if you have already gone through the pre-seen material in detail before coming to this session. So can I just quickly, by a show of hands, know how many of you have read the pre-scene, have gone through it in detail? Okay. How about the others? Okay, great. So it's only going to be useful if you have already gone through it, because here we are going to do an analysis. We are going to see what are the key points that we can learn from the pre-seen material. Then we are going to talk about what are the potential exam themes on which maybe the examiner can give you questions. And then we're also going to have a bit of a discussion about the pointers which you people can use to frame your answers if those requirements come up in your exam. So let's get started. The name of the company is Dearn Shoes Limited. So the key points I have summarized for you people in this table below. So the company's background that has been given to us is that the company was founded 100 years ago. So this tells us, this point lets us know that it's not a new business. We have been in the business for quite some time. We are an old company. We have good expertise and experience in whatever we are doing. And we are also, the country where we are operating is Lukeland, and Lukeland's fourth largest shoe manufacturer is our company. And then there are four types of products. The second key takeaway from what the company background looks like is the company produces four types of shoes. What are the four types? First is the formal shoes. Second is your semi-formal shoes. Third is the casual, and fourth is the children's wear. So these are primarily four kind of products that the company is manufacturing. Now, if you talk about the key features regarding formal shoes, they are handcrafted in the country of Lukeland. So where we are based, where we are selling it to our customers, we handcraft the formal shoes. While if you talk about the other products, they are mass produced by X company in another country, which is Scotland. So we are operating in one country, we are based in one country, but only one product that we make, the formal shoes that we make, we handcraft those products in our own country. The rest of the products are made also by another company in a different country. So we bring them to our country and then we sell those products. The next key takeaway is that your retail and online sales is the only business that we do in Lukeland. We do not do any sort of exports. So we are not involved in selling our products outside the country that we are founded in, that is Lukeland. So we deal with retail stores. What are retail stores? The physical stores that you people go to, your Zara, H&M, these are all retail stores. So you go to the shop and then you buy the products. That is what is a retail business. And online sales, you all know, they are also available on a website, on their applications also. So you just have to visit their app, you have to visit their website, and you can order online also. So that will be the online sales. What else do we know about the company? They have 75 branded retail stores. So this is the number of stores that Dan Shoes presently has, but only 12% of the sales are online due to lack of delivery options. So if in total they go out and sell $100 worth of products in the market, only $12 of these sales are actually coming from the online platform. And the reason has also been provided to us in the pre-seen material, that it's because of the lack of the delivery options. Are you all with me till here? Any difficulties still here? Okay, great. So let's move forward now. Another thing which we should know by reading the case study, I've summarized it for you, the difficulties that this company is facing. Firstly, Denshoes is faced with the problem of the quality issues. What are the quality issues? We are outsourcing three of out of the four products that Dern Shoes is selling. three products, 75% of your total product line is outsourced to somebody else. X company was making it for us. So the challenge that we are facing is we are getting increasing returns. More and more people buy it, but then they return the product back to us. So it's not technically a sale for us. And there are also delays which X company is doing. So as a business, it's bad for me if more and more people return what they buy from me. If the sales are getting returned, that means my sales are actually losing out. So first is the quality issue that we are facing because of the manufacturer X company who is manufacturing three of the products for us. Then another challenge which Dearn Shoes is facing is the outdated systems. In the case study, we saw how we have a weak supply chain visibility and the e-commerce capabilities are also less. And that is the reason why we are having only 12% of the sales that come through the online portals. Then the third challenge which they are facing is pertaining to the environment and ethical concerns. So we have seen in the case study how the people of Lukeland are becoming more and more aware. They want things which are made in their own country rather than buying something which is made in another country. The X company where we get the shoes produced from, it's in another nation. So here the challenge becomes the ethical reasons that we are outsourcing and we are also using synthetic materials. What are synthetic materials? They harm the environment. They are artificially manufactured. They are not something which exists in the environment. So like how plastic is called synthetic because it's man-made. Humans make this, and then once you throw away the plastic, it takes you like a second to throw away a piece of plastic. But then for the earth, it's going to take millions and millions of years to decompose. So similar is the concern with the synthetic materials. Now that people are becoming more and more aware, the normal consumers are getting more and more information about where the brands are getting their raw material source from. So it becomes a very big challenge if my customers are boycotting me for not using natural materials, for getting my goods made from outside my country. Then in that case I can lose out on business. So this is the third concern. Another concern is our online limitation. So we are not able to offer the home delivery option and the customers have to collect the orders from the retail outlets. Then what is the point of having an online system? Imagine if you people want to buy something from Zara and H&M, you just pay at the application and then it never comes to your home, it never gets delivered to your house. You have to go to collect that from the store. You could have gone to the store only in the first place. What's the point of having the online platform? So this is another challenge that the customers have to come to collect, and the home delivery option is a very big thing which the customers actually are looking forward to, and we are not able to offer that to our customers. And then another thing, another challenge that they are facing is they are having a slow adaptation to the digital transformation, especially for the younger market segments. So if you talk about even the examples that you see around you, the Gen Z, the people who are young at the moment, they prefer to get things online. If you talk about the earlier generation, our parents, their parents, they would not like to shop online very easily. They would want to see the product. They would want to wear things before they actually buy something, before they shell money out of their pocket to buy something. So this adaptation is getting slower for us because especially the younger segments prefer to buy online. And if we have this limitation, then we can also lose out on business. If we are not offering them home delivery with online orders, then we are losing out on our customers who could have ordered online. So these are the challenges primarily which I could identify from the case study, that these are the things which are problems which can possibly create issues for Dearn Shoes company. Any queries still here? Are you all with me? Okay. All right. Let's head forward Now, with challenges, now not everyone will just have challenges, there will be some strengths also. So, what are the strengths that Dearn Shoes Company has? So, firstly, we can observe a strong brand loyalty, specifically in the children as well as the semi formal segments. What do we mean by brand loyalty? That even if the customers get something better or at a cheaper price elsewhere, they're still going to stick with us. Can you people give me any example of a brand which you know that has a very high brand loyalty? Which customers? Yeah, absolutely, Rachna. Apple has a very high brand loyalty. So even whatever that they launch, even if from the past few iPhones they are not coming up with anything new, still people go to the stores whenever the new launch has happened, and they queue like crazy because a new model has been dropped. So if you enjoy a good brand loyalty, even if you are not innovating, even if you're not doing something that your competitors are doing, still the people are going to come to you if you have brand loyalty. So this is a very big strength that Dearn Shoes Limited is enjoying. Second that you see is that they are having a high customer reputation in the retail stores. So this is another strength. Customer service reputation, that would mean that after the goods have been purchased by the customer, you give them good service. So if you talk about any of the let's suppose if you buy a washing machine, now after installing it in your house you're facing some difficulties. So if the company is very quick to resolve your queries, you will say that yes, the customer service is good. So if you have a good customer service, then also people come to you again and again to buy goods. And the third strength which I could observe is that they have a high staff satisfaction. So if the staff are satisfied, they are not easily going to leave the job. So this would mean low turnover. Why is a low turnover of staff a good thing? Why is it a good thing that my staff do not want to leave my organization? Okay, one point is about the lower recruitment costs. We save on recruitment costs, we save on training costs. And also, don't you people think that if the same people keep doing the same job, they also become experienced? They learn, they are able to do the same things faster. If I have been doing a job for 10 years, and then let's suppose I go to a new job, so that new job I might take a very long time to understand. So, yeah, efficiency definitely. Ease in fixing accountability, perfect. If the staff loyalty increases, then they can always trust their employees that they will not leave them and go to the competitors, perfect. So you people are giving good points here. So that is how high satisfaction of the staff and as a result low turnover will be helpful for the company. And the last strength which I could feel by reading the case study was the family owned business. But the strength over here is that there is no involvement of the family in the management. They have a proper professional leadership who is actually leading the business. When a family is actually running the business, what can happen is because of some family issues, your business can suffer. But here, if no family is involved in the management, there are professional people who are running the company. You can ensure that because of family conflicts, that will not be affecting the business badly. So this is also one strength, that the management is proper professional people. It's not the family which is involved in the management of the company. So these are the strengths which are associated with Dearn Shoes Limited. Any doubts still here? Are you all with me? Okay. All right. So I now move ahead to what all points should you people be keeping in your mind for the exam. So firstly, if they talk to you about the ethics and governance, if you want to keep a look at that perspective, firstly, the ethical point of view is that they are getting the work outsourced to another company in another country also. So what is the possible thing which you have to keep in mind? You have to see what will be the impact of this outsourcing. What do you people mean by outsourcing? When we get the job done by somebody else. So if I am getting three kinds of my products out of the four products that are manufactured made by somebody else, then what impact does it have on my quality? on my sustainability as well as my reputation. So if X company based in Totland is manufacturing three of the products that I sell, is the quality of the products actually nice? Is it matching to the ones that I produce myself? Is it sustainable, and how is it going to impact my reputation? So in the case study, we saw that the consumers are now preferring to wear more and more things which are made in their own country of Lukeland, made in Lukeland, the MIL stamp. So if we keep getting the things made from outside, it can also hamper our reputation in the long term. If we are a strategic business leader, if we are at the top level of the management, this is also something that we will have to consider. Nobody else will do it for us. And then if you talk about your governance, governance will include everything about how the company is directed and controlled. This is the definition that you have studied for governance. Corporate governance is the way in which the directors control and manage a company. So if you read the case study, it will show you that there is no audit committee, there is no remuneration committee, and there is no nomination committee which exists in the business. And this is a corporate governance weakness, because if you do not have any audit committee, that means nobody is keeping a check on what is happening in the company. If you have no remuneration committee, that means the executive directors are setting their own salaries. If you set your own salary, would you give a fair amount to yourself, or would you like to keep your salary set at a very high amount, probably something that you don't even deserve? So remuneration committee not being there is also a corporate governance gap. It's a weakness. And what does a nomination committee do? You people have studied the rest of the papers to reach the SBL paper. What does a nomination committee do? Yes, the nomination committee is responsible for succession planning. Which director is now going to serve in which position? That is also decided by the nomination committee. So, there they ensure that only the people who have the requisite skills and experience get to be put on these top executive positions. If there is no objective person deciding that, I myself decide I will be the CEO, even though I do not have those skills, even though I do not have those knowledge and experience, then also I will put myself in the CEO position. So if that's the case, then it also means weak corporate governance in the company. So if at all anything about ethics and governance gets asked, these are two bullet points which you people can use in your answers. Are we all good till here? Any doubts? Okay. Now let's talk about another aspect which is related to strategy and risk. So if the question, any requirement talks to you about the strategy being followed in the company and the risk that the company is facing. So with respect to strategy, you people can talk about the strategic implications of keeping the manufacturing in Totland versus reshoring. What would reshoring mean? Offshoring is one term that you know. Offshoring means the work actually has to be done in one place, but rather than doing that in that place, you get it done someplace else. So this Dearn Shoes Limited, they are operating in Lukeland. They sell in Lukeland. They are not dealing with any other country with respect to selling of the goods. So what do they do is, instead of getting the shoes produced in Luckland, they get it produced in Totland. So if you get it produced in Totland, that is what is offshoring. And when you bring it back to your own country, Luklin, that is what will reshoring mean. So, what will be the implication if we keep manufacturing in the outside country, or if we bring it back to our own country? What all will we have to consider between choosing both of these options? And about risk management, you will have to see about the regulations which are there, about the environment, about the economic slowdown which the economy might face, and about the supply chain. So this is something which you people can be asking here. Can fluctuating foreign exchange be a risk too, and can it be used in skepticism? If we continue to get our manufacturing done from Totland, then absolutely it can be a risk that you can put. If they are asking you for a risk register analysis, then definitely you can put in that point also. We have a point, we once we move further, I have the requirements pertaining to a risk register also. We'll discuss other points also that we can be putting in our risk register. So this is about the strategy and risk. Now if it asks you anything about the technology and digital aspect, firstly you always have to consider the limited e-commerce functionality. We can possibly do some further investment so that we can start off with the delivery of the goods also. To our customers, we are not just offering, to buy online and then collect at the store, but we give them the option to get home delivery also. This is the first thing that we are going to try when we are thinking about our digital and technology aspect. And another thing which we can do is considering the use of 3D printing, virtual reality, augmented reality, as well as intelligent shoes. So I think a few months back, I was visiting London, where in one of the stores in Nike, they had put up something of a virtual reality in your shoes. So if you just step in those shoes, it tells you your weight, it tells you what your, the whatever these health tracker watches tell you, the shoes actually measure that for you, and then they keep showing you what those numbers look like. I think it's still a product under development. They've not yet released that out in the market. But you see how shoes are also becoming intelligent now that people around the world are becoming more and more concerned about their health. So this is something which the brands are also now inculcating in the products that they manufacture. So this is one thing that you can talk about. They can think of doing 3D printing or virtual reality or something like that to make it more attractive, to make it more valuable for the customers. Any doubts in these 2 points that we have spoken about? You're all with me? Okay. Now, let's talk about another aspect pertaining to the people and culture. So, if they are asking you anything about the culture of the organization, what the staff of the organization is like, so you can say that the staff are loyal, they are satisfied. And if we are doing any sort of change, if we bring in our manufacturing from Totland to Lukeland, then we will have to maintain this if we change. So, usually, when big changes happen, when you are doing a strategic change, there's a good possibility that the staff resists. If the staff feels that the change is not going to be in their favor, there's a very high possibility that your staff is going to resist the change. So the management has to ensure that the change happens in a manner that the staff levels are kept the same. The staff are still satisfied, they still remain loyal to us. So any change has to be done in a manner that the staff satisfaction does not get destroyed. Another thing is about the culture that you can talk about, that you will have to manage the change with a risk averse and a long tenured board. What do we mean by risk averse? Risk averse will be when we are trying to take as less risk as possible, and long tenured board would mean that the people who are responsible for bringing in the change, they should have at least a decent tenure over which they can change the business, how it operates. What do we mean by tenure? It's the time, it's the number of years that the board serves in the position, whatever they are carrying. So the tenure should be long enough so that the change can totally be completed. If you are changing and then in the middle some new management comes in, then everything can go haphazard. So whatever change I am trying to do, my term should be long enough so that I am able to achieve that change completely. ऐसा ना हो कि बीच में रह जाए वो change जो होना था. So this is something which we will have to consider when we talk about the people and culture in our organization. And then talking about the sustainability aspect, so we see how the customers are now preferring increasingly local as well as ethical manufacturing. Local means in the country where we are living, which is Lukeland, and ethical meaning that it should be good for the environment. We are using too much of synthetic material. People do not like that. People want that it should be good for the environment also. So we should have a look at the possibility of developing some product lines which are sustainable for the environment, which are eco-friendly. So, I think around the time of COVID, 2020, 2021, that time, H&M was very much criticized for polluting the environment. They are using too much of resources because of the fast fashion and everything. So they also took up this feedback. Initially, it did them good harm, but then they also came up with a line. Now, if you see on a few items that they sell, on some an extra tag is put where it tells you that this has been made from recycled cloth, or this has been made from eco-friendly production methods. So this is also something which now customers more and more prefer. It has become the need of the hour for every business to actually adapt to whatever the public demands. The public is not only demanding good quality of clothing here, good quality of shoes, but they also want the companies to not be harming the environment too much. The companies should also be considering that they are living in the environment, so this environment should also be preserved. We should be working sustainably so that the future generations can also keep enjoying whatever the environment has to offer. So these are a few considerations which we can include in the answers that we pray. Any doubts still here? Okay. If not, then we are going to move forward to the likely examiner question themes. So this is the most important part where we actually, you know, see through that whatever case has been provided to us, kya possibilities hai, examiner, what all they can question you on. And then I've also given you a few bullet points as to what pointers you can include if you get asked around that particular theme. So we will go about the themes one by one. So first theme is if they ask you about the strategic options, what should be done regarding the manufacturing? So should we continue producing in in the offshore country in Totland, or should we bring the manufacturing back to Lukeland, or should we be expanding online, or should we, because we are only dealing in Lukeland, we are only selling our goods in Lukeland at the moment, should we begin to export to other markets also? So this is about the strategy of the business. What are the strategic options that the business has? So your requirement could possibly look something like this. You would have to recommend whether Dearn should bring manufacturing back to Lukeland, expand online, or enter export markets. So these are a few solutions if they want to overcome the problems that they are facing right now. So what are the points that you can give over here? Firstly, if they continue their manufacturing in the country of Scotland, there's a big reputational risk. What is the reputational risk? First is of the poor quality, and second is of the unethical practices. So the reputation of Dearn shoes is at stake if we continue to do our manufacturing in Scotland. Another point that you can talk about is the growing customer demand for sustainable and the locally made products. So if you keep your manufacturing in the country of Scotland, you are doing damage to both of the things. You are not even producing locally, and you are not even using sustainable material. So if you continue their production there, this is another limitation. Next thing that you can talk about is the opportunity to build on Made in Lukeland accreditation by expanding the handcrafted range. So if you remember in the case study, we were manufacturing one thing in our own country in the Lukeland, where it was something that we make handcrafted. So if the people are now preferring more and more of locally made products, then we can also enhance our production in the MIL Made in Lukeland range, where we make more of these handcrafted products in our own country. Another thing which we can consider is the cost benefit analysis. If you have higher costs in Lukeland versus what will be the reduced returns and brand equity. So that means if we continue to produce in Totland, maybe we can definitely save on our costs. We can get things for cheaper for our business. But if, let's suppose, we shift the production back to our own country of Lukeland, maybe one side the costs will be the cost benefit analysis. You put into two columns in your table. First, you talk about all of the costs, then you talk about all of your benefits. So in the costs, the first thing that you can put is the high amount of costs that we will have to incur. And then if you talk about the benefits could be many. Your reputation could go up. You can enjoy the opportunity of selling more and more of locally produced goods. Uh, Yes. So then another point that we see is we have export potential for the formal shoes, which is already aligned with the international demand trends. So there's also the possibility of the formal shoes that we sell because they are aligning with what is trendy around the world. We also have the potential to export it outside of our country. So that is one more option we have to solve our problem. Yes, Kabir has also given the same point, increase in demand for foreign shoes in the neighboring countries. Absolutely. This is also one opportunity that we have if we, boost our production of these formal shoes. So this is about the strategic options. These are a few points that you people can inculcate. Do you people have any other points which you think I have missed on and could be added? Anything that comes to your mind? Okay. The market growth in Lukeland is low. So that also pushes us further to, have a look at exporting into other markets apart from Lukeland. All right. Any other points that come to your mind? Okay. All right. So should we move ahead to the next theme, which is possible? Okay. Another point has been sent by Kabir. Dearn is medium priced and the disposable income is constantly falling. Yes. So we are lying in the middle range as for now. But if the disposable income keeps on falling, then maybe we might have to shift to the lower priced products. Absolutely. Vanshita says people are willing to pay high in countries where the disposable income is high. So we can possibly think of exporting, entering those markets where the disposable income is higher than the country of Lukeland. Absolutely. Let's now move ahead to another theme which you people can get asked about in your exam, which is about the governance. So if they give you a requirement, let's suppose where they ask you to advise on the implementing of better governance procedures. So what all can you people recommend? Firstly, the governance gap that we have already spoken about, उनके पास nomination committee नहीं है, audit committee नहीं है, remuneration committee नहीं है. These all are important if you want to have a good governance, if you want to ensure that the shareholders' wealth is being maximized, the shareholders' assets are taken good care of, then good governance is definitely needed. So you can suggest to align with good practices. For example, in UK, we have the UK Corporate Governance Code. Similarly, in the country of Lukeland, where they are operating, they can think of adopting the corporate governance code which is being followed in their particular country. So this is about the second point. The third bullet that you people see over here is that you have a family ownership, and if you do not have a board involvement over here, this also raises the concerns about the accountability. So who really is answerable for the decisions that are taken in the company? That is also something which we will have to consider. Then you also have the risk oversight, which could be enhanced via a formal audit committee. So if they take into account an audit committee is also going to help them manage the risks nicely. So audit committee can also help you with the risk management aspect. You can also suggest an evaluation of the board. You can suggest about succession planning, and you should also suggest about a more independent oversight. So regarding the board evaluation, we should be doing a quick check on the board that whoever is sitting on the board of directors, are they doing the job nicely or not? Are there any gaps? Are there any loopholes? Succession planning, who is the person who is going to be the next big leader, about the CEO, about the CFO, the chief marketing officers, and all of the important people basically of the company. And then we should also talk about a more independent oversight, like whoever is overseeing this board of directors, they should be independent people. Their interests should not lie in the profitability of the company. They should not have any financial interests, like how we have the non-executive directors. उनकी कोई ownership नहीं होनी चाहिए company में. Their only work is to ensure that the company is working in the best interests of the shareholders. So this is something, these are a few points that you can include if you get asked about the corporate governance aspect. Anything to add over here? Anything that you people think we can add in these points? Okay. If not, yes, absolutely. The executives who have been in power have not been changed for quite a while. This is also an example of weak governance. So you could say how, we are doing a board evaluation and succession planning also. So that would mean that we are having a look again as to why they have not been changed for a very long time, and then they should be changed again.
And reappointment of directors.
Okay, you could talk about, so that comes under succession planning. Um, Rachna says internal controls. The internal auditor is directly under the finance officer. So he could be facing something that you call as an intimidation threat. All right, this would sound very fancy in, if you write this point in the AAA exam audit and assurance or the advanced audit and assurance. But here we will not be focusing too much on which kind of a threat it is, but we have to link our answer, Rachna, to the corporate governance part. So we will say that because the internal auditor is directly under the finance officer, it hampers the independence. So he might not be able to raise points properly because he might not be independent enough. He might not feel that he has the power to speak in front of the finance officer, because if your salary is paid by the finance officer, you cannot really question the finance officer. So this is also one point that we can add here. Perfect. All right. So should we move ahead to the next theme now? Okay. The next theme that I have taken here is if you get asked about ethics or sustainability. So a requirement can potentially be where they ask you to write a report on the reputational risks of continuing with the Totland based manufacturing. So if you do not decide to bring the manufacturing back to your own country of Lukeland, if you keep to manufacturing in the foreign country only, then what will be the reputational risks? What all can you talk about here? You can talk about how if we outsource to Totland, it leads to a reputation risk for us because of the poor labor and the environment standards there. Secondly, you can talk about how if you are going to, continue doing that, the stakeholder expectations of, improving the transparency of your supply chain, that you will have to align with. You will have to tell your customers that yes, we have not made this in Lukeland, we have got it made from another country, which is Totland. So we will have to improve our transparency. Otherwise, the reputation can be a huge, huge threat. So a real life example that you people would also see is usually on clothes which are made by Zara and H&M. You will find very often they have written which country the goods are made in. So most often than not, you're going to find made in Bangladesh, made in Sri Lanka, made in Thailand. So these are basically places where labor is quite cheap. If labor is quite cheap, then manufacturing in that country is very cheap for the brand. And usually in these countries where the laws are not very tight, you will observe some unethical practices also, child labor, exploitation of the workers. This will also be very common. Now, now that the customers are becoming more and more aware about these things, they do not want to buy from any brand who is engaging into practices like child labor. Nobody wants to wear a cloth that has been made by a child who did not even want to work, or maybe who was robbed from the privilege of getting education. A child is not supposed to work in that age. The child is supposed to get to school and get knowledge. So if that is not happening, the customers do not want to buy products from you. So you have to be very transparent in your disclosing to the customers where are your goods coming from. The third bullet that you see here is about you can give them a suggestion that you should be going ahead with ethical sourcing. You should have sustainable materials like your competitor, Kind Shoes Company, is having. You should also be switching to more sustainable materials, and you can start off with recycling initiatives. So, again, brands like Nike, they started off with recycling initiatives where they are now making new shoes by using the material from the old shoes. So the old shoes have been recycled. The material from that has been taken to create new shoes. Similar is happening with jeans also. Levi's was doing that. That old jeans, you can give it to them and then they recycle the material from there to manufacture the new jeans. So this is also something which Dearn shoes can try. This will help the reputation become better. Another thing that you can do is highlight the long-term brand value if you align with the ESG trends. What's the full form of ESG? What does ESG mean? Yes, it's the environment, social governance. So here you're taking the care of three things to be exact. Firstly, you're taking care of the environment. Secondly, you're caring about the social aspect. Social is the people around you, the general public. And then you're also caring about the governance. So the board of directors, the way the company is directed and controlled, that should also be taken care of. So if you take care of all of these three things, ESG is taken care of, then it can help you create long-term brand value. Environment is taken care of, people are taken care of, governance, that means the stakeholders as a whole are taken care of. So definitely it's something which is going to help the business get a good brand value in the longer term. And last bullet that you see over here is you can also suggest this company to publish a sustainability report for transparency. What is a sustainability report? Where the company, at the end of the year, usually what all do companies produce? Their financial statements. So rather than just producing the P&L accounts, the cash flow statements, you should also give the disclosures about how much harm or better you've done to the environment. So if I had used these many resources from the environment, what have I done to give back to the environment? Another example, which if you people live in India, you would know a company called as Mama Earth. So it's basically producing your daily consumption kind of goods, shampoos, face wash, and whatever we use in our day-to-day life. Now, every order that you place with them, they plant a tree. So each order is linked with planting a tree for you. So this is also how the brand is going out to show you people that we do not just care about profits, we are doing something to do good for the environment also. Every order that you place, we plant a tree on your behalf. So this is something good which they are doing, which can be included in our sustainability reports. So this is also something, if they start doing, their reputation can better. It can, look good in front of the general people. Anything else that you people think we can add? Okay, Rachna has a doubt. Uh, do they still ask for press release type of questions where they ask us to draft press release like related to such ethical issues? Rachna, talking about the latest trends, this requirement is not very common in the latest past papers, but in the past it has been asked. So we cannot completely rule out the possibility कि ऐसा आएगा ही नहीं, but we should be prepared for everything. Lately नहीं आ रहे हैं ऐसे questions, but हमें prepare होना चाहिए. If it comes up, we should be able to write it. Fine based contracts should be signed in order to maintain customer confidence. What exactly are you trying to imply? Could you explain a little bit more here? If the question states that we are looking forward to listing on the stock exchange, in that case, we will have to form committees, improve corporate governance in order to achieve the listing. Absolutely, yes. Listed companies will have to comply with all the rules and regulations which have been specified by the government or the rules and regulations of the stock exchange. तो वो सारा तो हमें fulfill करना ही पड़ेगा if we have to get ourselves listed. That's absolutely a valid point. Then uh, Rachna is asking how should it be drafted. So if they ask you for a press release which you have to create for this particular business, you could talk about the good things which the business has been doing. So you could clarify things like we would like our customers to know that we are getting the manufacturing done from Totland. Yes, we are not denying that, but at the same time we are ensuring the highest standards of labor and environment that are being followed. We are, you can possibly put in you can say that we are attaching a few pictures from the factory where you can see our workers are working with proper safety equipment. They are full-fledged worker people. They are not children who we are getting the work done from. So these are a few points that you can add to, convince. Basically, the point over here would be to be able to convince your customer that you are not doing anything wrong. Everything that you're doing is within the scope and standards of ethics and the legal requirements. Kabir says, for example, if any of the supplier is found using unethical practices, some amount of money can be deducted. Yes, absolutely. You can include this also in your press release that we have signed contracts with our suppliers that if we catch them doing any sort of unethical practices, then we are going to maybe put a very heavy fine on them, or maybe we will even stop doing business with them. So this is how we are ensuring that the shoes that you wear, they are not brought to you by doing anything bad to any human being. Can we give heading fine based approach? I think a subheading which will be suitable here would be um, ensuring, let me think, ensuring the best standards of manufacturing. So this is something that you can put as your subheading under which you can explain this, that we are following a fine based approach. Yes, Vanshita, again, this is also one point that you can add in this report, that we have also started investing in a recycling program. With whatever waste that is being generated in our factory, we have started to put that to a recycling sort of a process with which we are able to use the material back again in our production. That is also something you can add. Great points you people are already giving. Okay. Should we head forward to the next theme now? All right. So the next theme is with respect to risk management. So here, a possible requirement, they could ask you to analyze Dearn's risk register, and you will also have to then give them strategies कि उस risk को कैसे mitigate या minimize किया जा सकता है. So if you are asked with any sort of a requirement like this, firstly, you can ask them to use the risk matrix so that they are able to identify the likelihood of a risk happening and what impact will it have on the business. तो अगर आपकी supply chain disrupt हो जाती है, this is the first bad thing that can happen. How likely is it that the supply chain will get disrupted? And if it gets disrupted, what is going to be the impact? क्या होगा अगर हमारी supply chain disrupt हो जाती है? What all will the business have to face as a consequence of any disruption in the supply chain? Another bad thing which can possibly happen is if your online sales stagnate. So, what will be the likelihood of that happening? And if that happens, what would be the impact? And then you can also talk about your reputational risk, that what is the likelihood that your reputation as a business is going to go down and what impact will it have on your business. So if your reputation goes down, maybe people will not prefer to buy goods from you, they are going to go to your competitors. We can lose out on our market share. So how can we give the solutions now that we have spoken everything about the problems? Solutions that you can give over here is you can mitigate the problems using dual sourcing. What do you mean by dual sourcing? You can get your sources of supply from different suppliers. So if I have a disruption in my supply chain, let's suppose I was getting it made from company X, maybe as a backup I should have a company Y. If company X is not able to give me the goods on time, I should be able to get it from company Y. So I should have multiple sources with me. Another thing that I can do to solve this problem is have an upgrade in my inventory system. So whenever I get to know that my inventory is about to fall, before waiting for it to fall, I place my new order so that never will I have to go out of stock. And then it tells you stronger SLAs with X company. What are SLAs? What are SLAs? Yes, these are the agreements that we have with our suppliers. So we can put these agreements in a stronger manner that if company X delays our goods or if they are not up to the right quality, then what all are going to be the fines and penalties that we put. So if we put higher penalties, then we can ensure that the goods are going to be delivered to us on time and they are going to be of the right quality. Another thing that you can talk about for your online sales stagnation is you will have to use something that you call as scenario planning for economic downturns as well as changing consumer preferences. So if my customers are liking the shoes that I'm making right now, it's not necessary that in the future also the same will happen. These are things related to fashion. Fashion trends keep on changing very quickly. So if let's suppose what I'm manufacturing is no longer the preference of my consumer, then what am I going to do? I should be preparing for every sort of scenario. And then if you talk about the reputational risk, we should think of establishing a risk committee so that time to time they will keep evaluating these risks and they will keep taking any necessary actions to keep the risks in check. And we should also think of strengthening the current internal control committees. So this is something that we should be recommending them to do with respect to the risk management. Kabir says, but according to me, Dearn either by shutting all of their manufacturing plants in Lukeland, some of them should keep on operating when it comes to worst case scenarios like change in import policy, etc., so that the customers don't shift to competitors. Absolutely, whatever you think, you can give that thing also with a reason so that if it's a valid point, you're going to be getting credit. Whatever you think, if you support that with a good reason, definitely you're going to score marks for that point also. So yeah, Kabir, if you can support it with proper reason like this, you can articulate it better. If you are placing this point in your final exam answer, definitely this can be a relevant point. Okay, so this was about risk management. नेक्स्ट वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट अनदर थीम जहाँ पे वो आपसे डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के बारे में पूछ सकते हैं. So maybe they can give you a requirement where you have to propose a digital strategy to improve their online sales engagement and the customer satisfaction. तो उस केस में what all can you do to make these things better? First thing that you will have to tell them that your the online platform that you are operating, that is totally outdated. You are lacking delivery, which is a very basic feature, so this should be added. And also UX features affect growth. What is UX? UI, UX, these are two terms which you might be seeing used interchangeably at multiple places. It's usually written like this. What does this mean? Anyone has any idea? Yes, UI stands for user interface and UX is user experience. So sometimes whenever you want to place an order, now if you want to place an order, let's suppose you're here living in India, you have two options. Either you place your order from Zomato or you place your order from Swiggy. So both of these apps, do they have the same interface? If both of these apps are providing you the same service, where usually do you prefer to place your order? Where you find the user face interface easier to operate, where it is easier for you to place your order, easier for you to browse through different menus of different restaurants. So user experience definitely matters. The way the customer is brought in, the way they are able to browse through the website or the mobile app, that also matters if the business has to be successful. So we talk about this thing. Another point that we can make over here is we have a missed opportunity with the younger people demographic 18 to 30. So we can do something like digital marketing and influencer marketing. What is influencer marketing? All of the people who are influencers, the people who are followed by the general public, if they promote our brand, then it's going to be more picked up by the younger people. This is what you see even the brands around you doing. You would see very often that, influencers have become the new celebrities. Earlier, celebrities used to come up in all of these ads for the businesses. Now, more and more brands are going to influencers to get the brands promoted, because we are seeing a very big switch. The younger people, rather than following these movie stars, they are now following more of these influencers. So the brands are also now shifting their marketing efforts from the movies, from the celebrities, to now these influencers. So this is also something which we can suggest to gather the younger audience, which is lying between the age of 18 years to 30 years. Another thing that we can do is probably invest in a virtual reality or augmented reality for virtual fitting, expanding our functionality, and introduce home delivery. So you would have seen, I'm not sure how many of you would know about it, but even on the Nika application, how many of you know about this? They have created this virtual reality where if you want to try on a shade of lipstick, you just have to open your front camera. The camera is going to capture your face and you can see the lipstick, how the shade is going to look on your lips. Lenskart is also doing this. Yes, absolutely. That the whatever spectacles that you want to try on, you just open your front camera, it'll fix it virtually on your face, and you can see how the spectacles are going to look on you. So this is something which we can try to enhance the engagement with our customers. Even this happens on Amazon. I was just the other day, checking for an office chair. So I saw that there was an option to see how it's going to look in my room. So you can point the camera to the place where you want to keep that chair, and it will show that if the chair is kept here, this is the amount of space that it will occupy, and this is how it will match with your rest of the furniture. So this is a very good thing. The customers get a better idea that is the product going to work for them or not. So this is how you can improve the engagement with the customers. You can improve your sales. Another thing which you can do is consider engaging in an omni-channel integration. What do we mean by omni-channel? Omni-channel means even the two of the channels can go hand in hand. So we can do something like online ordering, and if they want to return or exchange, then they can come to the store also. So this happens through different brands that you see around you. Also, if you have ordered something online, you can always go back to the store. If you are passing by the store, you can return it and get the thing that you want in exchange of it, right? So this is an omni-channel integration. If I buy something online via Zara, I can go to the store also and return it and get something else of my choice. So this is an omni-channel integration. Yes, absolutely, Afreen. And then the last bullet that I have written for you people over here is we can consider a long-term return on investment from whatever investment that we are doing in customization, 3D printing, as well as CRM systems. What do we mean by customization? How can it happen on shoes? We have seen a brand also do this very recently. Customization would mean what? Yes, we are able to design it as per our own choice. So, have you seen those Nike Panda shoes where you have different colors? They come in different themes, but then you can always customize your colors. Sometimes you can always get your names written. So that is what is customization. We can start offering that to the customers so that we are able to engage them even further. Just the other day, I saw an advertisement from Levi's. You can write your name on your jeans. So this is also an example of customization. 3D printing, you all know, that is also something that can help you customize things for your customers. And then CRM systems. Okay, Onitsuga Tiger is also offering customization. We have all seen brands do this. So whatever you're observing in your surroundings, you can use that in your final exam to enhance the quality of your answers. So keep every window of your mind open when you are thinking about suggestions. यूजुअली जब हम एग्जाम में बैठ के ऐसी चीजें सोचते हैं, ये इतनी आसानी से हमारे दिमाग में नहीं आती. But only when we think from a broad point of view, then we will be able to think that, okay, this is something that I saw recently some other brand doing, and this company can also do that. So this is how we can come up with points like this. And what are CRM systems? You would have studied about this also in the previous exams. CRM stands for customer relationship management. Absolutely. So what can you do as a part of this system? Maybe you can introduce something like a reward scheme, maybe something like a point system, that every time your customer purchases something from you, you create an account for them and then the points get credited. So if they, purchase something for 100 rupees, maybe 1 rupee you can credit them. So the next time they can accumulate points and get discounts. Yes, this is something that we do to retain the customers, to get their feedback, to understand what they want from us. Loyalty cards is also an example of what you can potentially do. Gift cards also we can probably start to introduce. You have seen brands like Zara, H&M, Nykaa. Literally every brand has been doing this. You can purchase a gift card for anyone who you want to give a gift to. So this is all a part of the digital strategy. Uh, okay. But Kabir, how will after sales service fit into the digital strategy? Maybe like setting up an online after sales service. That can be something that we can do. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Anything else that you people would like to add here? Okay, great point. We can try to include artificial intelligence here in our customer service. Lots of brands have been doing this lately. Any other points that you people think we can add further? All right, let's head forward to the next theme where they can ask you to do a performance review of Dearn shoes. where they can give you a requirement to interpret their financials, interpret how satisfied the customers are, and tell about what the market share trends actually look like. So, what all can we observe from the numbers that have been given to us? We can see that the revenue has mostly been stagnating. Stagnating means it's neither increasing nor decreasing. We have come to a stagnant, a constant revenue. Now, this constant revenue is a bad thing for a business, because the more you grow, the more your revenue should also grow with you. Your revenue should not stagnate. That's a bad thing. Another thing that you can talk about is how the market share has fallen to 9.4%. So, this is a signal of strategic drift. We are drifting away from the strategy. We have to do some changes in our strategy if we want to continue with our business. The gross profit margin is also stable. This means that the production efficiency is not declining, but the sales are actually plateauing. Sales are not increasing as they should. There's also a decline in customer satisfaction that we see. What is it possibly because of? It's because of the quality concerns as well as the poor online experience that my customers are experiencing. Another thing is a positive thing after all of these negatives is at least my staff satisfaction is high. This is a strength that I should strive to preserve even if I take up any sort of change in my organization. And another thing is, if we try to benchmark against our competitors, what does our competitors, what are they actually doing? So, if you talk about a competitor known as Parish, they are primarily dealing with the premium market, the high end products. Rigo is targeting more towards the youth segment, and Flamingo is doing into something which is speed to market category. So, if the competitors are doing something like this, maybe that is what is working in the market. So, we can probably try to experiment more in these areas. Will we be asked to calculate ratios like current ratio, GP margin? Very less chances, because these are too easy, too many of easy marks. If I were the SBL examiner, I would never ask for these, because this is all crammed knowledge. These are all rectified formula. The market is evolving, but Dearn is reluctant to change. Absolutely. This is also something which you can include, that if we do not evolve with the external surroundings, we perish. We will not be able to continue the business further. Good point. They should also look for a target audience. Yes, okay. So we can probably focus on one sort of the category of our total audience, maybe whichever is the highest in number, whichever is easy to target, whichever will be buying our products more often. So that is something that we can target. Maybe if youth is what we are targeting, the 18 to 30 bracket, maybe we can see the strategies of the Rigo company, which is our competitor. Absolutely. Yes, we cannot fulfill maybe the entire market's demands at one time. So we can go category by category. First, we can target one category. Once we think we have gotten a decent amount of growth in that category, we have that category sorted, then we can move to targeting the next category. This is how we can break down. This is one approach that you can suggest. Great, good answers. It becomes such an interesting session for me also to take up when you people come up with such good points. It's an interaction that I also get to have. It's not just, feeling like talking to the walls. I really like this. Okay. Anything else that we can add, or should we move to the next theme? I think you people, once you sleep on it, you might also be able to get a few better points. Maybe right now they might not strike, but when you read about it further, when you allow your brain some more time to think, definitely you're going to come up with some more points. Okay. I think we can now move ahead to the next theme. The next theme that we are going to talk about is the leadership and change. So here your requirement could possibly look like you have to advise the CEO on how they can implement a major change in a culture which is risk averse, where we do not like to take a lot of risk. So how can we go about a change? So if we are going to have a risk averse board with a long tenure, there's going to be a high resistance to doing a bold change. एकदम से 360 डिग्री चीजें नहीं पलट पाएंगी अगर आपका बोर्ड बहुत रिस्क अवर्स है. If they do not like taking risks, if they are going to be there in a position of the board for a very long time, it is going to be very highly likely that they resist. They do not want to go forward with a big change in the company. You can suggest the Cotter's change model or Lewin's three-step model to manage the transformation. These are a few models that we have studied as a part of the SBL syllabus. So this is where models can possibly be inculcated in your answers. You can emphasize how much it is needed to have an upskilling of the leadership, of the digital leadership. You can also, have them maybe conduct a workshop or a retreat for the board so that their vision can be reset. They are thinking too much on the same lines. They have to have a change of scenario, maybe, forced to think about some different things about doing the business. One more thing which you can highlight is the importance of the internal champions to lead the transformation across the departments. Who will be called as internal champions? This is something that we have, transformational and transactional leadership. Who are internal champions? Yes, these are people who lead by example. So these might be some of the employees, some of the managers who have been able to do good things for the business, who have been able to bring more and more revenue, more and more market share into the business. So the other people in the business will look up to them. So they can also lead by example. They can show by example that I can do this, so can you. So the other people are also going to feel motivated that yes, this change is absolutely possible. If that person has done, if my idol has done something, I will also try to do something similar. So like how we see, Virat Kohli getting influenced by Sachin Tendulkar, that is how he started playing cricket. So similarly, he also tries to do similar to what his idol has done. So similarly, if in the organization also the people who have been able to achieve really good feats, they can also inspire the other people who are working in the organization to do something nice. So this is how a transformation can be led across different departments. Any other points that come to your mind which we can add here possibly? Any other points that you people think can be added here? Okay, all right. You can try to bring in diversity to the board. Perfect. You can assess the readiness of the various stakeholders to accept this particular change. How ready are the people? Is there going to be resistance? All right. What else? All right. So let's move to the next theme. I think this is the last. Yes. Last theme that I would like to talk to you people is about the stakeholder management. So if we are going to draft a communication for the shareholders, if we want to give them the reason why the market share has been falling, and what are the new strategies that we are working on to rectify our mistakes. So this is similar to if they ask you to manage the stakeholders like the audience, the public, the customers. So how Rachna had asked the question that if they ask us to draft a public press release, so that can also possibly get asked in stakeholder communication. Another stakeholder communication question could be around how you are going to communicate with the shareholders. How will you justify why the market share has been falling, and what solutions have you thought of to work ahead with that problem? So firstly, you will have to prepare an honest data driven update to the shareholders about the different kind of risks that the business is facing, as well as the strategies that we are thinking of to overcome these particular risks. We are going to emphasize our alignment with the mission, vision, values of the Dearn Shoes Limited, which is to maintain good quality as well as long-term commitment. Then we can also consider using the power interest matrix to tailor the messages. Whoever has a high power, high interest, they must be, these are our key players. So everything should be brought to their notice. They should be kept, according to the different level of power, interest, who should be kept satisfied, who should be kept informed. All of this is something that you can do to manage how much you tell to the different stakeholders. Another thing that you can do is use internal channels. So you can, to engage staff, you can use intranet, or you can hold meetings to tell your different stakeholders about the changes that you are proposing. So like how we were thinking about readiness to the change, we can get an idea how ready is my staff to do any sort of change in the business. And then another thing that we can do is we can communicate the customer centric strategies externally via the website or social media. So whatever good that we are doing, which we would want the customers to know about us, that is something which we can release to the public via our website or via our social media handles. So you would see lots of brands, whenever they do anything good for the society, anything good for the environment, they post about their campaign on their website or on their social media platforms. So this is how stakeholder communication can be managed. Any other points that come to your mind? Thinking about different stakeholders, how can you communicate? Okay, talking about six capitals, all right, that can also help your stakeholders get to know about the business better. Integrated reporting, absolutely. So these were all of the themes that I could possibly think of which can be asked in your exam. Now, this is not a comprehensive list. I would not say कि इसी में से कुछ आएगा, but this is just what I could make of by going through the pre-seen material which has been made available. But one thing which I would like to tell you people is we have had such a discussion about, all of the potential themes, what are the key points to take away. One thing which I would like to, bring to your notice, you probably know about this, but just to reiterate that it's all going to be from this pre-seen document. It's all going to be, something which is within this world. Nothing out of this world is going to be asked. So stop worrying too much कि exam में क्या आएगा. Just be very well averse with the scenario, the pre-scene that has been given to you. Do not overthink also, because I have seen students who spend too much time on the pre-scene content that they begin to overthink on the points. Now, overthinking is also not recommended. When you overthink, you can probably come to even such detailed points because every detail you have figured out in your brain. It is not mentioned in the case study, but you assumed one thing, it led to another, that led to another thing, and in your mind, this is a whole story which nobody in the outside world apart from you knows about. So do not go on by over analyzing what has been given to us. Yes, this, take it just like a business case study, how you are reading through what is happening with the other brands around you, the real world brands that you see, brands like Zara, H&M, Nike, Onitsuga Tiger, Levi's, what all are they doing around you? इस scenario में भी तो वही हो रहा है, कुछ out of the world थोड़ी हो रहा है. Whatever problems they are facing, these are problems that you will face see any business facing. So nothing out of this world is happening. Do not get too much worried. Do your practice, do your research, do spend a good time with the pre-scene, but do not obsess over it. There's a difference between getting prepared but and on the other hand, getting over prepared. Do not get yourselves over prepared. Do spend decent time, but do not go overboard. That is what I would like to suggest you people. Now we are roughly, your exam is on Tuesday, right? Your exam is going to be on the 3rd of June. Am I right? Yes, so you barely have eight. Today is Wednesday. Next Tuesday is your exam. So do not, I would say, take up too much of your brain into thinking कि पता नहीं क्या पूछ लेंगे exam में. Just relax. Keep practicing. Keep, thinking about potential points that you can write, but do not obsess about it. Do not go overboard. That's just what I want to tell you, people. Afreen is asking, based on your analysis, how close does the pre-mock come to the real exam? So if I talk about the skill level papers like PMFM, sometimes we see a very big gap. We will find that these pre-mock exams that are released, they are very on the easier side, but the real exam can be a little bit higher than that level. But with the professional level exams, I see that the level remains pretty much similar to what gets asked in your pre-mock exam. The SBL exam is honestly, you can get to see that by the pass rates also. It's not a very difficult nut to crack. But the only thing that you have to be careful about is you are thinking from the perspective of a leader. The exam is titled SBL, Strategic Business Leader. You are a leader at the top position in any organization. So you cannot be any leader if you just think about the point that comes to your mind. Any leader has to think 360. What all is going around with the business? What can potentially go wrong if we do something? If we do something, what all will it trigger in the longer term? Because the leaders, they are never concerned about today. They are concerned about the future. They are future looking. If you are in an important position in the company, your job is not just to make the company do good this year, but to ensure that the company does good for the coming years, for the years to come. So that is only possible if you look 360 rather than just doing what your competitors are doing, rather than just doing the bare minimum. You have to think out of the box. You have to do something which the others might not be doing, which gives you a competitive edge in front of the other people. So if you talk about the revolution that has been recently happening in the artificial intelligence industry, we saw the company called, OpenAI coming up with ChatGPT. No other company which was established in the tech world. We have companies like Google, we have companies like Microsoft. They are constantly round the clock working around technology, but still you see somebody else who was not even, we did not even know that this company was in the race. They came up first with something like ChatGPT. So you have to ensure that your vision, what you want to do with your company, is something that is not only meeting your bread and butter for today, but doing something good in the longer term. That is what you have to think about whenever you're the leader. Think 360. Think about all the perspectives. If something is going wrong, question why is it going wrong. What can you do to make it go right? And if something is going right, then also double check. If you think you're going to make profits this year, be skeptic about it. What about what we are thinking, what assumptions we are taking? What if they do not hold true? What will we do then? How sensitive are our decisions to changes in the external environment? What is in our control? What is not in our control? Everything is what a leader thinks about whenever they are leading the organization from the top. So think from the perspective of a leader. Forget that you are a professional level ACCA student. You step into the shoes of a CEO, CFO, whichever requirement asks you to do. Step into those shoes and think like that person. Okay, enough gyan about what you have to do in the SBL paper, or do you want more? Vanshita says, what do you think should be done in the last days of preparation? So, if you people have already practiced, I would say um, a decent amount of past papers you've practiced. Let's suppose, I think 7 to 8 case studies which you have drafted, practiced on your own, gotten your mocks evaluated, then I think you are in a good position. Do not stress too much about what should we be doing in the last days. Whatever content that we have in the SBL syllabus, it's not a very broad content that we have. Keep revising whatever models that we have. Again, we do not have to obsess over the models. It's still possible to score marks without the models also. So do not stress too much about it, but whatever you're able to retain about the models, keep revising whatever syllabus, maybe the flowcharts that you have prepared while studying, any notes that you people have prepared while studying. So go through those notes a few hours of the day. Remaining few hours of the day, you can probably research a little bit more about the shoes industry, now that we know that we have the case study based on a retailer shoe manufacturer business. So yeah, not much to do in the last days, honestly. If you are done with the drafting practice and 2 to 3 mocks, if you have gotten evaluated, then you're good to go. Work upon whatever shortcomings have been told to you in your mock evaluations. If I've told you to do a greater analysis of your points while you're drafting your answers, think about different perspectives, think about pros, think about cons. If something is going good, why is it going good? If something is going wrong, what can you do to make it right? So think 360, try to think from different perspectives. And if I've told you the drafting that you have done is fine, then you don't have really much to do in this last week. Think about different perspectives from this, shoes industry, whatever information has been given to you. But again, I'll tell you, do not overthink about it. Do not spend, I would say, more than an hour in, you have barely like 6 days left to the exam. So probably 5 days that you get to study, and sixth day is your exam. So do not spend more than an hour on each day on the pre-scene. That is what I would suggest you. Okay. One last doubt I have is that in Dearn, a small manufacturer is giving competition on the basis of ethical shoes. So how is it going to impact Dearn? So whenever you talk about a small competitor coming in, there are obviously going to be plus points about that and negative points about that. Plus points, that you could say this is a small manufacturer, we are operating at a large scale. Operating at a large scale, we have the benefit of economies of scale. हम ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन करके अपनी फिक्स कॉस्ट को ज्यादा यूनिट्स पे स्प्रेड करके वही सेम चीज अपने कंज्यूमर्स को सस्ते में ऑफर कर सकते हैं. So considering that the disposal incomes are falling in the country, it can help us beat the competition. Then talking about ethical shoes, हमारी limitation यही है कि हम एक दूसरी कंट्री से अपने शूज मंगवा रहे हैं और वहाँ पे भी environment वाले rules follow नहीं हो रहे हैं, labor वाले rules follow नहीं हो रहे हैं. So this is a drawback for us. If we can do something to mitigate that, अगर हम अपनी production shift करें या फिर उसको अपने customers को दिखा सके कि हम सही से उसको produce करा रहे हैं, हमने सही material use किया है, environment को damage नहीं किया. If we are able to do that, then that problem can also be resolved. So think about all of the aspects that are possible and then frame your answer. Can the question be asked that Dearn decide to acquire it, but further due to weak financial position, further debt required? Again, yeah. If it asks you that particular scenario, या फिर अगर आप उसको अपने point में add करना चाहते हो कि उसको acquire कर लो, then for your own point also you can give two perspectives, that if we acquire, तो हमारी competition वाली problem तो solve हो जाएगी. But at the same time, it is going to create us a problem financially because we are already in a weak position. इकोनॉमी भी डिक्लाइन पे चल रही है, तो क्या हमारे लिए सेंस बनाएगा कि हम इतने पैसे स्पेंड करके एक कंपनी को अक्वायर करें, और अगर करते हैं तो कैसे करेंगे? विल वी रेज मनी वाया इक्विटी, विल वी रेज मनी वाया डेट? अगर डेट लेंगे तो हमारी गेयरिंग रेशो खराब हो सकती है. हाउ इज इट गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट द शेयर होल्डर्स? दैट ऑल यू कैन ऐड इन योर point. So within one point also you can give pros and cons also. Any other doubts? All good, guys? Vanshita, for formats, we are going to most probably have the session tomorrow. We are going to keep the details posted on the group. Okay? You're most welcome, Rachna. All the best. All right. Welcome, guys. Bye bye. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, Tahir, I'll share this document with you people.